Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome. My name is Simone. I'm a licensed professional counselor in the state of Texas. All right, so today's topic, we're going to talk about if therapy is overrated, or really, let me correct myself. Today's topic, we're going to talk about if becoming a therapist is overrated. So we'll get into therapy a lot more in the future, but today we're going to cover everything about being a mental health therapist or counselor. Now, I did a previous video on what was the difference between the different professions. So I already broke down, like, kind of in the therapy field, in the counseling field, what is the difference between a therapist and a counselor, and a licensed professional counselor versus a licensed clinical social worker. We also have associates. So we have LMSW, which stands for licensed mental health social worker. And you also have LPCA, which is a licensed professional counselor associate. And I can't forget my LMFTs, my licensed marriage family therapist and licensed marriage family therapist associates. So it's a broad field, y'all. Therapy encompasses so much, but when you think about it, I mean, it's a whole big world out here. So you have to have a broad field of professionals to cover what the needs are that are out there. Um, but back to the topic for the day, y'all, because I feel like this is kind of like a hot topic, and I just randomly thought about it, and I really wanted to dive into it, and I would love to hear other people's perspective. Y'all can comment down below if y'all want to include your own perspective in this topic. But essentially, is becoming a therapist or a counselor in the mental health field overrated nowadays? So it's interesting because when I thought about this, I've been going through my own journey. I've been a licensed professional counselor for about 3 years now, but I've been a mental health counselor, meaning like I was an associate for 2 years prior to that. So 5 years total since 2020, since I graduated with my master's of science in clinical mental health counseling. 5 years since I've been in the field. And they tell you starting off, or if you haven't heard, I definitely heard this starting off, like the average time frame for burnout in the mental health field is about 7 years. So I'm almost to that 7 year mark, and I will say I've learned so much. I've been on the verge of burning out in different areas of the field twice now. Thankfully, I still have a lot of passion, and I do feel like this field is my calling. But I feel like there's a lot that's not really talked about, or I'll just say educated about, for up and coming therapists. So I definitely want to bridge that gap and provide just personal hand to hand experience um, on the journey that I've been on thus far in the mental health field, and maybe provide some education to those that are up and coming or still in school and wondering, how do you make it in this field? Like, how do you actually become a mental health counselor or therapist? And how do you find success or find joy or find fulfillment in this field? So, those are some of the topics that we probably will get into a lot with this main topic today. But if we don't cover all of it, no worries. This channel is for the help of others. It really is going to be a community channel. So I do want to provide real, authentic knowledge as well as education to the mental health field, and see, um, who it could help, who it's for. But essentially, because I'll go out on a tangent. I love to talk. But let me kind of reel myself in. Essentially, what I wanted to kind of cover today is just becoming a therapist. Let's talk about the steps of it. Like, first off, there's so much that you have to do to even get into your career. So let's talk about that first. Let's cover that. So the first steps. I mean, obviously you do have to go to school, but I'm not sure if a lot of people are aware of how much schooling and commitment, time commitment, efforts, energy that it takes to actually begin the career as a mental health especially a counselor or therapist. So one, you do have to graduate with a bachelor's degree. right? So I myself, I can only speak on my personal experience. I graduated with a bachelor's of psychology. And so I did spend 4 years. I was fortunate enough to only have to go to school for 4 years. So I know sometimes it takes a little longer. And if that's your journey, hey, that's okay. It's not a race, it's a marathon, right? So long as you know you're doing something that you truly want to do and that you're passionate about or you find fulfillment in, then learn, right? It may take however long, but get that knowledge. But yeah, for me, 4 years, bachelor's degree in psychology, love psychology. And that is what kind of prompted me to the very beginning of my career path or my profession. I was like, whoa, psychology is interesting. I like studying the mind. The classes were interesting. And so, yeah, got my bachelor's. Shortly after that, I knew that there wasn't a lot of career options just coming out with a bachelor's degree um, with psychology in the mental health field. Like it just wasn't at that time when I graduated. Like I literally ended up getting a job that didn't require a bachelor's. Like it just was a job that kind of, kept money flowing and I just got in where I could fit in. So that bachelor's degree didn't really bring me much except for acknowledgement that I completed something that I really was passionate about and interested in, but that was about it. Like I wasn't in the mental health field yet. So I quickly learned that in order for me to kind of have access to this career field, I will need my master's or my doctorate. So I will need a second degree at most in order to enter into this field. So I did make the decision. It didn't take me long. I made the decision shortly after graduating. Actually, before I graduated, because I had to fill out the forms and everything and get everything set up. But I did want to continue my education. So I ended up going to post grad, or they call it what is it, like graduate school. Y'all, it's not complicated. I ended up going to graduate school. So I got my master's of science in clinical mental health counseling, and that took me about 3 years. So if you do the math, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah, now we're on 7 years of total schooling, right? And when I got my master's, I did have to make the decision. I'm just going to fast forward. I had to make the decision if I wanted to continue school again and pursue a doctorate. And when I first started my master's, that's what I thought that I was going to do. I thought that I was going to actually become a doctor and have my doctorate in psychology. Like I wanted to become a psychologist. That was something that I was initially pursuing. However, I didn't know at the time that you could go from bachelor's to doctorate. Like some programs offer that advancement. I didn't have that knowledge, so I just went bachelor's, master's, and then I was like, oh, after master's, of course, I'll do doctorate. Well, when I finished my master's, I was so tired. I was exhausted because I went straight in from bachelor's into graduate school, no breaks, right? Literally just had a regular summer break and then straight back into school when August came. So I was tired, like 7 years of schooling plus like 12 years, prior to that. Like I was in school most of my life. Like I was just known as a student. I was so tired of being a student that I was like, you know what? No, I'm ready to work. I'm ready to get in this career field. So I did not pursue a doctorate degree because I knew mentally and physically I did not have it in me. So shout out to the ones that do it. I'm proud of y'all, and I know y'all have a lot. It's not easy, and it's definitely worth it, I'm sure, once you get to that point. But yeah, for me, I was like, no, pump my brakes. I just want to work now. I want to actually get these pieces of paper to work for me, and I want to be in my career field, and I want to learn. Like, I really was about learning and gaining experience because I felt like I've been a student and I knew paper wise or book wise, you know how they say book smart. I was book smart, very book smart and educated, but field wise, I knew nothing. Like, if a real client came in front of me, it's like, okay, like, what do I do now? So I was ready. I was ready to get real world, real life experience. And boy, was it waiting for me. So essentially, coming out with your master's, this is all I can really speak about because I don't have the doctorate experience. I'm just going to speak about having a master's degree, coming out into the field. So you're brand new into the field, and you're like ready, right? Because you're pumped up, you're tired of like school and tests, and you've completed all of those tests. So you're on a high because, well, you're kind of on a high low because you're tired, right? Like it's a lot that you have to do to get to the point that you got to, but then you're on a high because you actually did it, right? So you've accomplished, you finished another degree, your second degree, and now you're ready for it to work for you. You're ready to get out, right, into the world. Well, that's how I was like really on a high, and I was really excited about the possibilities and opportunities that was in the mental health field. Now, did I know who I wanted to work with? Starting off, I really thought I wanted to work with kids, and I did. Like, I ended up working with kids, specifically adolescents, and that's where I kind of gravitated to. I had a heart for the young people. Like, I wanted to be their safe space. I wanted to be an outlet because I remember when I was a kid, I didn't have that. I wasn't introduced to that, so I really wanted to be that difference. And to this day, I like kids, but I don't like working with the families of kids. So that's like the main thing. Like a lot of times, unfortunately, from what I've seen in my experience, you can do a lot of work, a lot of therapeutic work one on one with that adolescent, with that child, but then they go back home and they get re traumatized again or they get triggered again. And it's not a lot of follow through with the consistency. So, as much of a safe space and outlet that I had been for so many, I'm not sure how long it lasted because they had to go back to those same environments, and they were exposed to the same things that kind of, you know, had them in therapy in the first place. So, okay, yeah, I know how I get on my rants, but yeah, let me know how you feel about working with adolescents. Let me know your experience. If you're a mental health professional, a counselor, therapist, if you're actually in the field working with them, let me know how effective you feel like you're being. I really am interested in y'all perspective on that. So comment down below. This is an open discussion. Okay, I'm just bringing out the topic, but like I said, I want to really build a community and see who it helps around mental health and mental health professions. So that's what this channel is about. But yeah, so kind of moving on. I worked with adolescents. I learned a lot. I learned a lot about what I liked and didn't like early on, which is good. Like when you're fresh in the field, that's what you're supposed to be doing. You really aren't like, you don't have to stick with just one area of the field. And I think that's not talked about enough. Just because you start off really interested and, you know, passionate about one area doesn't mean that you have to just stay in that area the whole time. Like you can kind of explore and experiment and experience different areas of the field to really make sure that you're aligned with what you want, you know, or aligned with what makes sense for you. So I bounced around. Now I will say I did have a super cool supervisor at the time. My state appointed supervisor. I picked out my supervisor, and I can make a whole video separate from this on licensure if y'all are interested. So if you're in the state of Texas, I did get licensed in the state of Texas. I'm currently licensed in the state of Texas. So if you want more information about licensure for counseling or to become a professional counselor, licensed professional counselor in the state of Texas, just go ahead and comment that down below as well, and I'll make a separate video on that topic. Okay, because I can definitely provide some information for those who like it, for those who want it. Okay, but basically, you know, I had a state appointed supervisor that I picked out, and essentially she encouraged me, you know, early on in supervision when we'll have our individual sessions. She was like, hey, you don't have to stick to just one area. You can job hop if you like. You can kind of explore and experience different areas of the field, so that way you'll know for sure. Like essentially, she was like, I know you say you like to work with this population, and that's what you know are gravitating towards now. But try out adults, try out geriatric, try out all these other kind of areas to see if they're for you or if you really want to stick to adolescence. And that's something that I'm glad I did. Fortunately, through job hopping and through when I was gaining my hours, supervision hours early on, I kind of experienced different areas. So I've been fortunate enough to like say I've worked with a lot of different, like a variety of different populations. So I know for sure like what I like now versus what I don't like. And I can tell you, I do prefer working with adults, but specifically the young adults. Like those are my peeps, you know. Those are my peoples for real. I can work with anybody though. That's the thing. Like I've gained so much experience that I feel comfortable working with any population. But if you ask me what my preferred population is, easily 10 out of 10 recommend is going to be young adults. Okay. Um, and that's just because I feel like I've had the most like life changing, effective sessions with that population. So yeah, shout out to them. But yeah, essentially, like, it doesn't matter though. I really am here to like help people. So if you set someone that was like under 18 in front of me and they were in distress or in a crisis, I'm automatically trained. I'm going to, see how I can best help. The same as if you set someone that was like, 65 or older in front of me and they're in distress or in a crisis, same thing. Like that training kicks in, because I've been exposed to different populations. I have like that training and that comfortability. So now I'm okay. Like, regardless of who you sit in front of me, I'll do my best to collaborate to help. Um, but yeah, like, is becoming a therapist overrated? Essentially, I brought up this topic because it's like we take so much of our time, and I'm not saying this is the only field, but this is the only field I have experience with. So I'm just going to highlight it because I'm not sure it's highlighted or talked about either. But in this field, you take so much time, you commit so much energy to really helping people from the get go, right? Or learning how to help people from the get go. And then when it comes to finding meaning, finding fulfillment and success in this field, it really takes even more time a lot of times, right? Like, unless you have connection, because I always say connections do make the world go around. Um, I mean, you can get a lot through relationships and connections than by yourself. But unless you have that connection, where you have that mentor or you have that person that within an organization or company that's going to help you out or that's been helping you out, like, if you're having to do it on your own, it's very challenging and it takes commitment. It takes a lot of self-education, a lot of self-help to really be successful in this field. Even if you choose to go within a company, like, you have to do a lot of things trial and error, or you have to kind of just go through the fire in order to learn. When you're in those sessions or when you're in the group therapy or when you're working with that one client who is very difficult and challenging, you don't really have assistance like that unless, like, you reach out for help, before or afterwards, or but during it you're really like learning. And so I feel like it's a very tough field, and not a lot of people are talking about how mental health professionals have to do a lot in order to just get a lot, meaning get a lot as far as like securing a job right out of graduating. Um, Graduating with a bachelor's, getting a job is kind of like a joke in most states. But if you're fortunate to get one, the pay probably isn't equaling out or mathing. It's not making sense for you to survive on alone. And when you graduate your master's, you still have to get all of these hours in order to be fully licensed. And you can't really make a great amount of money in this field unless you're fully licensed. So you have to kind of decide if you want to commit that time. um, it's a lot, y'all. It can be a riddle. So I just was wondering, like, whoa, like, is this overrated? But I'm gonna just tell you, from my experience, it is worth it, and I don't feel like it's overrated because I feel like um, it's kind of the opposite. Like, it's underrated. Like, I feel like we should get so much more emphasis on this field because it's so needed. You know, it's kind of like how physical health or healthcare um, kind of encompasses a lot of physical health from when you're born, right? From the time you're born until the time you're um, older, geriatric age. Like, you have this lifespan of like emphasis on healthcare and physical health. But I feel like the mental health field is why are we disconnected? Like, the emphasis needs to be on mental health too, because from the time you're born into geriatric age, you need the mental health. Like, you need that because we have to deal with so much mentally, you know? And so I think if anything, we're underrated, not overrated. And I know that's kind of like a lot. It's like irony, but no, essentially, like I think that this field is so needed. I'm glad that I'm a part of it. That's why I really want to start making content and making like really being being that voice, so that way I can just share what I've learned and what I'm continuing to learn in this field, bring awareness to the the real experiences that are happening within this field. So um, let me know what y'all think. I mean, this is just a video to kind of open the discussion up, but let me know. I think that is underrated. I think that we don't get enough emphasis, and we don't get enough talk even. Thankfully, in the last 10 to 15 years, there's been a little bit more talk than before, but I think it just needs, like, we're catching up. Like, we really need to talk about mental health more, because it's so relevant and it's here. Like, it's not going anywhere. Like, our minds are important and they're so powerful. So yeah, mental health, I mean, it needs all the talk, it needs all the emphasis, and the professionals that's in it. Like, we need to, we just need a little bit more TLC, from 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 just a holistic perspective. But yeah. All right. Well, if you rocked with me throughout this video this long, I appreciate you. Um, Definitely, if you have any questions, comment them. If you like the video, definitely like this video. That helps the channel out. Um, and I will catch y'all in the next video. I'm not sure what I'm going to talk about next, but I'm sure something will come up. All right. So y'all stay tuned, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.